One of my goals as a life coach is to show you that you are in control of your life and you have the authority to determine the direction of your life. And one concept that can really help you achieve this is understanding what free will is. Free will is usually understood in the terms of just, individual freedom, the right to buy a gun, the right to do whatever you want kind of a thing, right? But in a greater sense, free will means that nobody can tell you what to do and you don't have to do anything. This is sort of a radical concept if you're used to the idea of you need to be doing some things, you should be doing some things. But when you really break it down, there's nothing you have to do. For example, I don't have to record this video and show it to you. I don't have to be a life coach. I don't have to be a software engineer. But the choice is mine. I am choosing to shoot this video so that I can educate you on free will. I am choosing to be a life coach so that I can help other people take ownership in their lives. I am choosing to be a software engineer because I like providing value through code. What I just described are voluntary choices, right? But let's say, I need a job to pay my bills and to afford the things that I want. So in that vein, a lot of people will argue, well, don't you have to work? Don't you have to make money? But the thing is, you don't have to. It's just that if you want something and you want to be able to afford it, you need money. And to get money, one of the ways to get money is to get a job and get paid, right? So you don't have to do it. If you just don't do the things that you want to do, if you don't buy the things that you want to buy, then you don't have to have a job. It's just a matter of choice. It's you're choosing to do the things that you want or you think you want, and then in order to make that happen, you need some follow-ups. Then some people will argue, well, what about, then don't you need a house, and then don't you need shelter, and so don't you need to have don't you need to be looking out for a shelter? There are people who live fine without homes in this world, maybe not in your neighborhood, maybe not in your immediate city, but across the entire human experience, it's not unheard of. You can try to come up with all the counter arguments about why you have to do something, but really, if you think about it, you don't really have to do it. It's just a matter of choice. And it's just a matter of what you want and what you choose to do, and then the follow-ups that come from that decision. But why is this important? This is important because this allows you to realize that, number one, it gives you a bit of a perspective on, do I really want to do this and do I really have to do this? Because there's no rule that says you have to do this. So if you're struggling with being overwhelmed by all the things that you think you need to, this concept can help you understand that, it's not that there's all these things that are enforced on top of me, it's actually my choice. If I have so much homework to do, let's say I'm a student and I have so much homework to do, and then I need to figure out what to do after I graduate and such, and then I feel overwhelmed because, I need to do this in order to be a productive member of society, but now you can realize that, it was actually my decision to go to college because I wanted to, have a degree and be successful in life. And maybe, it was my decision to go to college so that my parents would be happy with me. And so you realize that all these things that you have to do are just follow-ups of your choices. A second point is, you don't necessarily have to not do anything. So I'm not implying that you should just stop doing everything because you don't have to do anything. My point is more for you to have a perspective on whether things are forced down your throat versus it being your deliberate choice to do things. And I'm willing to argue, when you really analyze all the things that you have to do, it's gonna be a byproduct of your choices. And speaking more about nobody can really make you do anything. Let's say I'm a Korean citizen, so I had to do military service in South Korea. So in that case, isn't the nation making me do military service? So I don't really have freedom of choice in that matter. But actually, there are Korean citizens who go overseas and request refugee status for asylum because they argue that it is immoral for the nation to choose what its citizens are going to do. So it's not unheard of, and there are people who go through brokers like illegally in order to get a lower physical health status so that they don't have to enlist in the army. There are politicians who bribe the officials so that their children don't have to go to the army. So yes, if you are a Korean citizen, then the law dictates that you have to go. But in the end, it's up to you to abide by it or not. You weigh your pros and cons, and you think that, yeah, this sucks, but if I want to be a functioning part of a Korean society, then I have to do this, I have to bite the bullet. Or if you value your individual freedom that much, then you can be like, no, absolutely not. I can forsake my life in Korea, and that doesn't really matter to me. All I really need is to express my freedom and individuality so that I don't enlist. So if you think about it that way, even enlisting in the army is, while it's mandatory, it's still your choice to go. So the government didn't make you do it. In the end, you saw what the government said, you know what society says, and you got all the relevant context so that you can make the informed decision to choose to be enlisted in the army. And you can apply this to many different ways. At first, it's gonna be really difficult to see things that way because we're so used to the world happening to us. Let's say my wife gets angry because I don't do the dishes, and then I begrudgingly do the dishes. Then one could argue, well, she made you do the dishes. But in the end, whose decision was it to do the dishes? It was mine. I could have easily not done it, went for a really big fight, and then, we I don't know, get a divorce or whatever. Things can happen, right? So even if I follow somebody else's directions, it is ultimately I who decided to follow it. Free will ties into many other concepts like unconditional love, emotional maturity, the manual, and I'm gonna talk about that in the upcoming videos, but just understand that free will means everybody has their own will and their own choices to make, and nobody can enforce anything on you. All the choices are up to you to make.